I've been working here outside. And I have two small kids. So this time really isn't any different for me. It's been a lot more stressful, obviously, because I'm by myself taking care of them Monday through Friday. And so what I've been doing is working at night. So once my husband partner is finished working, I like 6 o'clock, I just start working, and then I'll try to work until dinner's ready. And then I work after dinner until I go to bed. So it's been a little crazy, but I've set some goals for myself so that I have like a concrete idea of what I'm going to do every day. And I only do one thing a day. So if that's finishing one sculpture, glazing a sculpture, working on a drawing for projects for tomorrow, I only do one thing a day, and that helps me from feeling like I need to do too much in a day.
So I think if anything, I have the opposite of isolation. I don't have any privacy at all. There's like no silence ever, which has been interesting. I mean, it was really challenging to make work for me anyway, with two small kids, with one small kid for the past 3 years, and then I have a newborn. So mentally, it hasn't been any different. I think it's been a lot harder. I like having silence, at least for some of the day, to think. So if anything, having a bunch of people around all the time has been an interesting, like cacophonous addition to my process. And I'm not really sure how that's affecting the work yet. I kind of feel like I'm running a marathon or something that doesn't have an end in sight. And I'm trying to just see if I can do as little as possible to keep my practice going.
I feel kind of okay during this like confinement, because I had like a studio life all my life in some way, so I just feel kind of relieved now that I kind of don't have to make anything. Like I feel I forgive myself for not doing good work or something. Like I can do like small watercolors and be okay with it. Like, and I really kind of enjoy that, like this freedom, and I'm kind of, it's also kind of a nice for me, because like I work a lot with like documenting, like, and I do like comics and drawings also, so it's kind of comic, I don't know, it's kind of a funny situation which I can use for a lot of like tiny drawings which are good for like documenting whatever is happening. Because I think like for me as a foreigner, it's kind of interesting to be in New York during a pandemic, because I just came here. I'm a lot on my phone with my friends and my partner and all of that stuff. So I'm kind of digital anyway. So this is, I don't know, like for me, it didn't change a lot. And
it's just been weird. Yeah, it's just been a lot of solitude. I feel like I'm in space or something. I'm used to working in New York in a city, and there's tons of noise, there's tons of traffic noise and people on the street all the time and lots of activity going on outside. And all that's still going on. Like I don't really hear any silence, where I am. But yet like our community, our world is totally shut down. There's no day job responsibility anymore. So it's just every day is possible studio time. So yeah, it's been weird to get used to that. But obviously that's not gonna last forever. So I'm trying to take advantage of it as best I can. I think for me it's really just slowed down the work process. And forgiving yourself for not making good work. I think that's a good point. I definitely think that's helpful.
Right before this happened, moved in with at my own housing situation. Sort of, I had to I had to move out, and I moved in with this couple who I and it's been really kind of this special moment of getting to know two people in a really like sort of unusually deep way that I wouldn't have ever had to do, and not had to, like as in, I mean, and actually there's ways in which that has been really sort of beautiful, I think. Also just, so one of the people I live with is also an artist, and we've begun kind of experimenting with this technique called scagliola, which is this sort of Baroque plaster marbling technique that's quite labor intensive. And I guess that's sort of a situation where like that came out of the beginning of the stay-at-home orders. Like I wasn't going to the studio. That was sort of not, that's kind of like shifted now. But so we sort of delved into this process, and at home we like converted like a space into this like scagliola studio, and we're emailing all of these like little places in Italy about it. And so that's sort of like, I guess that's a sort of moment where it's like that kind of like lack of pressure in a way to produce has sort of opened up a window to like a kind of more play or experimentation. I've spent a lot of time in this particular area of Orange County in the last couple of months. I found this like sort of very secluded rock area that I sort of turned into my sort of outdoor studio. That's been sort of a really nice respite. But I think that another challenge of working right now has just been kind of the really uncertain and strange, like obviously time that we're in, and a kind of a sense of needing to in some way address that, not necessarily directly, but even potentially energetically or indirectly in one's work. I think it's really difficult to watch like this whole thing unfold. And of course that's, maybe I addressed some of those things in my work before, and it's just heightened that. I think there's like a lot of question around like what feels tenable in the way like the art world has been set up until now. And so that's kind of like, there's a moment to kind of pause and think about that too.
Disco Dance Miss, that was kind of a fun week for me, because like I was listening to this, there's a good list on Spotify, so I was listening to that. I'm also like kind of a silent studio type, but I don't know, yesterday I discovered this like kind of on the track of like Iron Maiden, but like kind of heavy metal, but early, but kind of not so famous bands such as like Pentagram, like and stuff like that. I really like this like old metal, which is not yet developed metal, but kind of really like garagey, like nothing really specific. It's more like random Spotify stuff.
I've been working in silence actually for a while, but just yesterday I started listening to the new Fiona Apple album. It's pretty good. It's been hard to really like concentrate on anything actually, because I keep looking at the news and I want to keep like hear, okay, what's the latest, what's the updates, where can I get like tested, where can what have I been listening to actually? The Idiot by Dostoevsky. That's an audiobook I'm listening to.
I've fallen in love with Backyard Birds, which is like duh, but I was glazing outside a couple days ago and a catbird came over, and catbirds are like little gray and black birds, and I mimicked its call without knowing that apparently that's what the females do to the males. And so I literally like hung out with this bird all day in the backyard. It kept coming back to check on me like every 45 minutes, and it was just like the most magical thing. And there are cardinals and blue jays, hummingbirds. It's just been so hearing, and there are a bunch of woodpeckers that hit the house and make the whole house vibrate. So that's been a big soundtrack. And then also Tame Impala. I love Tame Impala, so I've been listening to Tame Impala.
I was just getting over this difficult breakup at the beginning of COVID, so I suppose I sort of delved into that like very depressing Mount Erie album. I don't know. I listen to a lot of different music, and I've actually been enjoying not listening to music so much recently and just kind of being with my thoughts. That comment about the birds resonates with me also. I mean, I have actually been anyway painting birds, but then simultaneously like spending so much time sort of staying in one place, I've like gotten to be somewhat familiar with this pair of eagles. I live on like a hill, and they, you know, you sort of get to sort of know these patterns that you know, otherwise when you're coming and going you don't get to see. But like the patterns of this particular eagle always perching on this one specific tall, like kind of bare tree, and the coyotes in the neighborhood, just like things like that, the sort of those rhythms that usually we sort of can drown out somehow. Mm-hmm. So they've kind of begun to emerge in a way that's actually been something interesting. Yeah.